A millionaire betrayed by his wife and closest friend, saved by the one person they never considered, a poor domestic worker. If you are just tuning into this channel for the first time, please subscribe to our channel and give this video a thumbs up. Also share with your friends and family. It means the world to us, sir. Please, I'm begging. You don't leave this house today. Chief Malik stopped in his tracks. He had just stepped into the hallway, one hand adjusting his wristwatch, the other holding his car key, but now standing in front of him and blocking his path was Lena, the housemaid kneeling on the cold tiles. Her eyes were red. Her hands were joined together. She was shaking. "What's this?" Malik asked quietly. Lena looked up, her voice trembled. "Please, sir, don't go. Something terrible will happen if you step out today." Malik blinked, confused. "What are you talking about?" "I had a dream, sir. Last night you were wearing the same outfit. You entered your car and didn't come back. There was blood everywhere. People were shouting your name." "Please don't go." Malik stared at her. The air in the room suddenly felt different, still heavy. This wasn't one of those dramatic dreams that made people laugh. Lena looked genuinely terrified. His phone vibrated in his pocket. Derek again. He was already late for the investors. The meeting, everything was riding on this deal. Millions. "Get up," Malik said, his tone low. "This is not the time." "Please, sir," she whispered, pressing her hands to the floor. "I know I'm only a maid, but I couldn't keep quiet. If I let you go and something happens, I won't forgive myself." Just then, heels echoed on the staircase. "Madam Tina." She descended slowly, robe tied tightly around her waist, face already glowing with early makeup. She paused when she saw Lena on the floor. "What exactly is going on here?" she asked coldly. "She's saying I shouldn't leave the house." Malik replied, not taking his eyes off. Lena. Tina stepped down and folded her arms. "Why?" Lena didn't move. "Mom, I had a dream, a very clear one. If he leaves his house today, he won't come back alive." Tina scoffed. "This is why I told you we need to let this girl go. She has now turned to a prophetess." "Tina," Malik started. "No, let me talk," she snapped. "You have an important meeting this morning. Money is involved, contracts are waiting, and now a housemaid is stopping you with nonsense dreams. You must be joking." Lena bowed her head lower. "I'm sorry, Ma, but I had to say it. Get out of the way." Malik raised his hand. "Wait." Tina turned sharply. "Wait for what?" He was quiet. His eyes were still on Lena. There was something about her voice, something honest. She wasn't stuttering. She wasn't trying to impress anyone. She looked like someone who had just seen something she couldn't unsee. Then it happened, that feeling, that quiet warning deep in his chest. No noise, no drama, just a strong sense. His chest tightened. The kind of tightness he had felt before major deals. But this time, it wasn't about business. He pressed 2 fingers to his temple, a habit he had picked up since his last hospital checkup when the doctor warned him about stress. He had ignored it, just like he'd ignored the quiet voice in his gut too many times. "If you step out today, you'll regret it." Malik stepped back. He walked slowly to the center table, dropped his car key beside his phone, and turned away from the door. "I'm not going," Lena gasped softly. Still kneeling, Tina's mouth dropped. "You're not what?" "I'm not going, for God's sake." "Malik, I said I'm not going." Malik walked into the living room and sat down, his hands folded in front of him, staring at the marble tiles like they had answers. Tina shook her head in disbelief. "You're letting this girl manipulate you because of one dream." She's not manipulating me," he said quietly. "Something just doesn't feel right." Tina hissed, turned, and marched back. Upstairs, grumbling to herself, Lena slowly stood up, wiped her face, and picked up the cup of water she had left earlier on the table. Her hands were still shaking, and silence. He sat there in silence, wondering why his heart was beating this fast, and why the fear in that girl's eyes felt more real than anything he had felt in years. What he didn't know was that this was just the beginning. Chief Malik Kadir wasn't just rich, he was respected. He didn't chase social media, fame, no unnecessary noise, no wild interviews or loud birthday parties. But in every real estate circle across Ghana, his name carried weight. He co-owned one of the most powerful property development firms in Accra, Cornerstone Property Group. Alongside his longtime best friend and business partner, Derek Okante, together, they built the company from scratch, right from the days of making cold calls from a single laptop in a small OSU office. to now signing million-city land deals in airport hills and cantonments, Malik was the strategy. Derek was the showman. Malik was calm, calculating, a listener who could read silence. Derek was charming, aggressive, a risk-taker who always knew how to sell a dream. People admired their friendship, the way they moved like blood brothers, but only Malik knew that behind the laughter, behind the champagne glasses, behind every contract, they were nothing alike still. The company was booming, money was flowing, life was sweet, and then there was home to the outside world. Malik had it all: a beautiful wife, Tina, slim, stunning, always glowing like a magazine cover, a modern mansion in East Legon with a gym. Nobody used imported scented candles in every room, and enough designer shoes to open a boutique. They were the ideal couple, always matching at weddings, always smiling in anniversary photos, always receiving compliments like, "God really blessed you too, you're perfect together." But behind closed doors, it was a different story. Malik had married Tina out of love, real love. He met her at a luxury interior store in Lebon. She had come to buy throw pillows, he came for a new chair. She asked him if navy blue matched gray, and he answered without blinking. She laughed. He asked for her number. The rest unfolded quickly, but love did not stay by their second year of marriage. It was clear, Tina didn't care for companionship. She cared for comfort. She didn't cook. She didn't clean. She didn't want questions. She wanted space, and she hated housemaids. In less than a year, she had fired 6 all for the same kinds of things. She opened the curtains too wide. She breathed too loud while mopping. She walks like a market woman. Each time Malik would return home and see a packed bag and a new name. He tried to complain once, "I'm not running a school." Tina snapped, "This is my home. If I don't like someone, they leave." So Malik stopped arguing. He focused on work, on money, on peace. Then one Friday afternoon, the last maid left without notice. Malik returned home from work to meet his lunch cold and his clothes unfolded. The living room was quiet. His wife was sleeping in the spa room later that evening. Tina announced, "I found a new one. She's arriving tomorrow." And that was how Lena entered the house. Quiet, small, brown-skinned hair neatly packed into cornrows, wore a plain gown and flat slippers, no earrings, no drama. She greeted everyone properly and went straight to work within hours. She had swept, mopped, washed the guest toilet and arranged the pantry. Without being told, she didn't ask for anything. She didn't touch anything that wasn't hers. She moved like someone who didn't want to be noticed. But Malik noticed her, not in a wrong way, but in a curious way, because she was different. Most housemaids watched TV. Too much gossip, pretended to be busy. Lena didn't. She was up before sunrise. She ironed clothes like she was trained at a hotel. She cleaned the windows without being told. Even Tina, who never complimented anyone, admitted one night, "She's not as annoying as the last ones." That was the highest praise Malik had ever heard from his wife. Days passed, weeks passed. Malik returned from work one evening to find the house sparkling, food, hot clothes folded, and silence resting peacefully across the living room. No one was shouting, no complaints, just calm. He looked at Lena once and thought to himself, "Finally someone who actually brings peace into this house." But what Malik didn't know was that peace was never the reason Lena was sent into his life. Malik sat in the living room without saying a word. His phone was on the table, his car keys beside it. The house was silent, except for the soft hum of the air conditioner. He should have been at the office by now, shaking hands, sealing contracts, smiling at photographers. Instead, he sat still, staring at nothing, feeling like he had just avoided something he couldn't explain. His chest felt heavy. The image of the maid on her knees replayed in his head, shaking, begging, crying that if he stepped out that morning, he wouldn't come back alive at first. It sounded ridiculous, but now he couldn't shake the feeling that something had truly been waiting for him outside that gate. His phone lit up again. Derek Malik sighed and picked up. "Guy." Derek's voice came sharp. "What's going on? You didn't show. The investors are livid." "I had to cancel," Malik said quietly. "You had to cancel. What do you know what was on the table today? This deal, Malik, this deal was gold." "I know," he replied, voice flat. "What's going on?" Derek asked again. "Talk to me." Malik hesitated. He didn't know how to explain it. He didn't understand it himself. But before he could answer, another call came in the screen. Flashed office secretary Abena. He clicked over, "Hello, sir." Her voice was shaking. "Kwesi? Your driver, he's been in an accident." Malik sat upright. "What, George Bush Highway? A truck lost control, hit your car, the same Lexus you normally use, it's somersaulted. He's in the hospital unconscious." We thought you were in the car." Malik slowly lowered the phone and stared at the floor. The exact car, the exact road, the exact time he was meant to leave. He didn't move, didn't speak. Just sat there replaying the image in his head. What if he hadn't listened? What if he had brushed it off? The silence in the house suddenly felt loud. The sound of footsteps interrupted his thoughts. Tina appeared from the hallway, her robe still tied, her phone in hand. "So you're just sitting here all day?" she asked. Malik didn't look at her. "There was an accident." She raised a brow. "Okay." Kwesi took the car. A truck hit him. "The car is gone." Her hand froze mid-scroll. "Then, and you think that means?" "What I think. If I had gone out, I might not be here," she scoffed. "So now, you're turning this into a spiritual story. Accidents happen every day in Accra." Malik looked at her. "You're not even shaken. Why should I be? You're standing here, aren't you?" He stared at her face, calm, cold, no sign of worry, no trace of relief. It made something shift in his chest. "I'm keeping her," he said. Tina frowned. "Keeping who?" "The maid. She needs to go. She saved my life. She caused unnecessary drama." Tina snapped. "She has no right telling you where to go or what to do. This is my house, and I won't let this is my house too." His voice was low but final. Tina froze. The room went quiet. She blinked, then turned slowly and walked away, leaving behind the smell of perfume and tension. Malik sat back down, hands pressed together. He wasn't thinking about the maid. He was thinking about something deeper, something wrong. He didn't have proof yet, but he could feel it. Something in his life was not as it seemed. The tension in the house didn't go away. If anything, it grew thicker with every passing day. Malik stopped speaking as much. He watched more than he talked, watched the way Tina barely looked at him unless she was complaining, watched how quickly she changed the subject. Whenever the accident came up, watched how she avoided walking past the maid, like guilt lived in her shadow. But he didn't say anything, not yet. Instead, he started asking quiet questions. A few days after the accident, something happened. Malik was in the dining room flipping through his tablet. Tina had just stepped out to answer a call. Lena came in to clear the plates. She didn't speak at first, then, quietly just above a whisper, she said, "Sir." Malik looked up. She bent slightly, pretending to pick up a dropped napkin. "Please don't sign any documents this week." He frowned. "Why?" Lena's voice lowered even more. "I had another dream. This one was clearer. I saw papers. You signed them not long after everything collapsed. You lost your company. Your accounts were frozen. There were policemen, sir. You were handcuffed." Malik stiffened in his seat. She added, "If you sign any document this week, you will not only lose your money, you may end up in jail for something you didn't even do." Before he could ask more, Tina walked back in. Lena picked up the tray and left quietly, but the words stayed. They didn't just stay. They sank deep. Malik didn't forget it. 2 days later, Derek came by the house. He showed up in his usual loud fashion, brushed waves, fresh cologne, big grin. "My guy," he shouted, pulling Malik in for a hug. "Charlie, thank God you didn't enter that car. That thing was brutal." Malik gave a small smile. "Let me guess," Derek continued. "That maid is still around, the one that gave prophecy that morning." Malik nodded. Derek laughed. "Oh man, you too. When did you start listening to dreams?" "I don't ignore warnings anymore," Malik said calmly. Derek raised an eyebrow but didn't push. Cool. No, forget that the Dubai deal is still alive. We just need your signature." Malik nodded. "Send the documents." Derek grinned. "That's what I like to hear." But later that night, when the documents arrived and Malik opened the folder, his body tensed. Something wasn't right. The numbers looked off. The proposed land value was lower than what they originally discussed. The foreign account listed on the payout page, it wasn't one he recognized. Then he remembered, "Please, don't sign any documents. This week you may end up in jail for something you didn't even do." Malik didn't sign it. He closed the file and locked it in his drawer. A quiet investigation followed. He contacted a friend in finance, and what they uncovered was worse than expected. Derek had been diverting company funds into private offshore accounts for over 2 years. Large sums hidden under fake project names, all carefully done like someone who never planned to get caught. It wasn't just betrayal. It was criminal, and Malik wasn't just being betrayed in business. At home, things got worse. Tina began trying everything to get Lena out of the house. "She's too comfortable," she said one morning, slamming a drawer. "Too quiet, I don't trust her." Malik didn't look up. "She's efficient, she's disrespectful, she's disciplined." Tina folded her arms. "She's going." Malik finally looked at her. "She's staying." Tina's voice rose. "You're choosing a maid over me. I'm choosing my peace." That night, Tina locked herself in the guest room. She paced, boiled, then picked up her phone and called Derek. He answered with a tired voice. "What is it? I can't do this anymore," she said, her voice cracking. "I'm suffocating." "What happened now?" "He's still protecting that girl. He refused to sack her. She keeps interfering with everything. She's just a housemaid." "No, she's not. She's a curse. That girl is watching us. She's ruining the entire plan." Derek was quiet. Tina kept going. "You told me to marry him. You said if I did, we'd find a way in, take part of the company, access the funds. We've been planning this for how many years? And we're still on track." "We're not," she snapped. "We've tried everything. You even sent those boys that evening to intercept him on Liberation Road. Do you remember?" I remember they were armed." Derek, they waited for hours. "And what happened?" "He changed routes again because her." Derek exhaled. "She called him, told him to take another way home. It's like she always knows every trap we set. He walks around it." Tina's voice dropped. "I'm tired. I hate living here. I hate pretending to be a wife. I hate sharing a bed with a man I don't love." "You love me," Derek said quietly. "Yes," she whispered. "That's why I did all this. But it's dragging, it's falling apart. And if something doesn't happen soon, I'm walking away." Saturday evening came quiet and slow. Malik was on the balcony going through audit reports on his tablet when Tina walked into the living room in a fitted travel gown. Her scarf was tied loosely around her braids, her nails freshly painted. She stood near the staircase, casually checking her phone. "I'll be going tomorrow morning," she said. Malik didn't look up. "Where to?" "Kumasi." "Daddy hasn't been feeling well. I need to check on him." He nodded slowly. "All right, I should be back Monday." "Okay." She waited for more questions. Maybe a hug, a safe trip, anything, but Malik simply returned to his screen. Something about the silence made her nervous, but she smiled and walked away. Malik didn't move, he didn't show any emotion, but inside he was already making a call. "Follow her quietly, don't lose sight, don't interfere. Just send me updates." The next morning she left the house at 7:15 a.m. Her handbag was designer. Her smile was soft. She kissed Malik lightly on the cheek and waved goodbye. By 9:03 a.m., the first update came in. She didn't go to Kumasi. She drove straight to Osu, checked into a boutique hotel on Oxford Street, room 406, name on the register. Mrs. Adwa Owusu. Malik read the message without flinching. By 9:47 a.m., the second update came. Derek arrived, cap pulled low, sunglasses, simple black polo shirt. He didn't check in. He went straight upstairs, same room. Malik stared at the photo. Then he sat back slowly. No shock, no panic. The truth had already been beating in his chest for weeks. This was only confirmation. They didn't come out all day. By 6:20 p.m., Malik arrived at the hotel in a dark SUV. He didn't tell his driver why he didn't need to. He got out calmly, walked in. The receptionist greeted him with a smile. He didn't smile back. Room 406. He said. She hesitated. "Are you?" Malik brought out his wallet and dropped 2 crisp bundles of notes. "I won't be long." She swallowed hard and handed him the spare key. He didn't rush. He didn't knock. He opened the door, and there they were, Tina in a white bathrobe standing near the minibar holding a glass of wine. Derek shirtless on the couch scrolling through his phone. They both looked up. At the same time, everything froze. The wine glass slipped slightly in Tina's hand. Derek stood up too quickly. Malik didn't say a word. He stepped in, looked at both of them one after the other, then gently closed the door behind him. Tina opened her mouth. Nothing came out. Derek tried to form a smile. Guy. Malik raised one hand. "Don't." Derek froze. Tina's lip trembled. "Malik, I can explain." "Don't lie," Malik said quietly. "Not here." She looked at him like a stranger. "You followed me. I stopped trusting you 2 months ago." He said, voice low. "Clear now." "Ayan, it's not what you think. It's exactly what I think," Malik said, and worse. There was a long silence. Malik turned to Tina. You married me for this. Her eyes burned. You never saw me. You were always married to your company, and you were always married to my account. He said, you and your business partner. Tina flinched. Malik took one final look at both of them. I hope it was worth it. Then he turned open the door and left no noise, no drama. Just the silence of a man who had finally seen everything he needed to see that night. He returned home and sat in the study alone. He didn't cry, he didn't break. He made 2 calls, one to his lawyer, the other to the company accountant, prepared divorce papers, and began the process to buy out Derek's shares immediately. Malik didn't eat for 2 days. The mansion was full of furniture but empty of peace. Every polished surface felt like it was mocking him. Every photo on the wall reminded him of how foolish love could be when it's handed to liars. He didn't cry. He couldn't. The pain didn't come with tears. It came with silence, the kind that wrapped itself around his chest and refused to let go the woman. He called wife gone the friend he would have died for dead to him and the maid. Still there, sweeping corners, folding bed sheets, serving him food. He barely touched the day the divorce papers came back signed. He didn't flinch. Tina didn't even bother showing up. She sent her lawyer tell him, I agree to everything she had said, just give me my peace. Her peace after trying to kill him, after planning with a man she slept with in his absence, after sleeping beside him every night while plotting his end. She wanted peace. Malik signed the papers with steady hands, but the fire in his chest was another story. He went back to the house that night and sat alone in the dark. The chandelier was on, the curtains were open, but the house felt like a coffin. He had everything but nothing, and that was when she walked in. Lena. She didn't knock, she didn't tiptoe. She walked into the living room, the way light walks into darkness, quietly but impossible to ignore. I'm leaving tomorrow. She said, her voice soft but firm. Malik looked up from the couch, his throat tightened. Why? He asked. She didn't blink. My assignment here is over. Malik stared at her. Of all the people in his life, this was the one who didn't lie, the one who saw the traps and didn't keep quiet, the one who risked her job, her comfort, even her life for him. You don't have to go, he said, and this time his voice cracked a little. You're the only person who hasn't hurt me. I know, she said gently, but I wasn't sent to stay. I was sent to save. Malik stood up slowly, walked over to her. His heart was heavy. He opened his mouth to speak, but nothing came. So she spoke again. If you had signed that document, she said quietly, you would have lost your company, your name, your freedom. You would have gone to jail while the people who planned your death walked free and kissed each other over breakfast. His jaw clenched. She took a deep breath. But you didn't sign. You stayed. You listened. That means you're ready for what to start again. She said, this time with your eyes open. They stared at each other. Then Lena did something strange. She smiled, not the kind of smile that says goodbye, but the kind that says you'll be fine. Live right, she said, backing toward the door. Trust slowly, love carefully, watch everyone. She turned open the door, and just like that, she was gone. Malik stood in that doorway for a long time, the wind brushing past him like a whisper. He didn't chase her, he didn't cry, but deep inside something was breaking and healing. At the same time, he walked back into the living room, picked up the frame of him, and Tina on their wedding day, stared at it for 5 seconds, then smashed it against the floor. The glass shattered just like the lie. He bent down, picked up a shard, and looked at his own reflection in it, cut, bruised, awake, and for the first time in a long time he smiled. Not because everything was fine, but because the storm was finally over, and he had survived it. It took a year, a full year of silence, of starting over, of rebuilding a life that had been designed around betrayal. Malik poured himself into Cornerstone. He restructured the company from the inside out, cleaned out. The rot replaced every person who had once bowed to Derek. He opened a new branch in Kumasi, hired young minds, refused. Bribes, walked away from shady deals, became the kind of man he wished he had been earlier, and with time the scars began to fade. He started going on walks again. He started eating with joy. He even started smiling without forcing it, and when love came, knocking again, it didn't come loud. It came gently through a woman he met at a charity auction who didn't care about his last name or his balance sheet. She cared about books, children, articled, the quiet things he didn't rush it. He didn't announce it, but when he held her hand one evening under the stars, he knew this time it was real somewhere across town. A small black car pulled up in front of a duplex with cracked pillars and tension in the walls. Lena stepped out wearing a plain gown and flat shoes. Her hair neatly packed, her face calm. She rang the bell. A tired-looking woman opened the door, eyes swollen from days of crying. The woman looked confused. "Are you the lawyer?" "No," Lena said. "I'm the housemaid." Inside that home, a husband was on the verge of throwing away his marriage because of a secretary who had wrapped herself around his world. The woman knew the man denied it. The marriage was dying, but Lena had arrived, and wherever she entered, lies lost and truth rose. Thank you for watching. See you in our next story. Until I bring another intriguing story your way. Bye for now.